Hello there, I'm Victoria Williams, and in this video I'm going to show you how to create a composition based on a minor pentatonic scale. The minor pentatonic scale is a 5-note scale built on these 5 notes which you can see on the piano keyboard: D sharp, F sharp, G sharp, A sharp and C sharp. We can transpose these notes up or down, and I'm going to actually move everything down one semitone to get the notes D, F, G, A, C, because it's a bit easier to work with without having to put in all the sharps, but the effect will be exactly the same. So these are the notes which will make up the composition. I'm not going to use any other notes at all, just these notes here. And the beauty of a pentatonic scale is that you can combine these notes in any way at all and it'll sound okay. There's no intervals here which clash with each other. So you don't have to worry about, well, does this note fit with that note, or will this make a chord that sounds okay? Everything will sound okay, it doesn't matter what you do, which gives us an enormous amount of freedom with what we want to do in our composition. Now I'm going to decide on a form for my composition. So this is like a plan for the sections, and my plan is a simple A, B, A form. This means that I'm going to have one section which will be in fact 8 bars long, a contrasting middle section, also 8 bars long, and then I'm going to repeat the first section again. So that'll mean I'll have 24 bars basically. To get started, I've already set up a score for flute and piano. You can pick whichever instruments you like, but this is a combination which I think works quite nicely. And I'm going to put the flute part in first. My flute part is going to be the melody. This is the part which has the interest. Because we've only got a very small number of notes to work with, we need to make sure that rhythmically the melody uses a variety of different note values to give it some interest. Otherwise it would be quite boring just to repeat the same note values, the same types of note with the same actual notes. So I'm going to begin by selecting the quaver or 8th note as quite a fast note, and I'm going to run up and down the pentatonic scale starting on the keynote D. I'll start with the lower one, so D, F, G, A, C, A, G, F. So I've gone up and I've come back down again. In the next bar I'm going to change the note value to make it a different rhythm, and control up to make a octave D, and use 4 of them. In the next bar I think I will use the faster note values again, so we've got the same rhythm as bar 1. You need to have some kind of continuity for the listener to understand what's going on in a melody. I'm going to use the same notes, but I'm going to put them up an octave, so it's kind of the same but it's kind of different at the same time. Now I'm in the 4th bar. I'm going to use something which will make a natural pause, because we're halfway through the first A section. And if I click on N for the note to enter a note, and this rhythm is also one I haven't used yet, and then I'll use the longer note to signify a kind of a breathing point, and then continue with the next 4 bars. Again, I'm going to use a rhythm which I haven't used yet, although it's based on the same note values. I'm using the same things, but each individual bar is slightly different from each other. So I'm going to go for the quavers, the 8th notes again. And perhaps I will split the rest here. And split it again. didn't mean to do that. I want it on that one, the D. And I'm coming up to the end now, bar 7 and bar 8 of the first section. So again, I'm going to opt for a longer note value to signify that this section is coming to an end, and I'll make sure that I finish it on the D because that's the keynote of the scale. Let me just remind myself what happened here. Okay, I feel like it needs to go up an octave, so we'll go for the high D. And then the long note in bar 8 on the keynote. So we've now made our 8-bar composition. The next thing we're going to add in is the right hand part of the piano, and to make this I'm going to actually just write 1 bar and then just copy and paste it into all the other bars. This part is just an accompaniment as far as I'm concerned. I don't want it to be really interesting melodically because that will deflect some of the focus off the flute part, so it's just to fill in the sound. So I'm going to be careful to choose different notes so there is a harmony created, but I'm going to use the same note value, and all I'm going to do is just drop the notes down according to the scale. So I'll go down to an A below this D to begin, and then I'm just going to follow the same pattern up and down using the same note values. So after the A we've got C, D, F, and then G, and then we're going back down again, so F, D, C. And I've done it, so all I need to do now is to click on the A, hold down Shift and click on the C. That selects everything, Control C to copy, and I'm just going to simply paste it in 4 times, and then I'm going to copy everything again, copy those 4 bars using the navigation pane down here. I will paste the 4 bars to make 8 bars, and I've now got my right hand part complete, taking me up to the end of the bar, flush with the flute part. So all I need now is my piano left hand, and to make this part, what I'm going to do is use a dotted rhythm. I'm going to use a dotted crotchet or a dotted quarter note. And the reason why I'm going to do this is because you can't fit dotted notes into a 4/4 bar without crossing over the bar lines. This will create a syncopated effect. It will be a cross rhythm off the beat, and I think that should actually make quite a nice effect and stop the composition from sounding a bit too plodding. I'm going to use the 5 notes, and I'm going to start on the D because that's the keynote as before, but instead of going up and down, I'm going to go just down, starting on the D with my dotted crotchet. So I'm going to place 1 D first. I want to go down an octave, and because I want a strong left hand part, I'm going to double up these notes. So I'm going to press Shift and D, and now I've got 2 Ds in this place. You can't actually see them because they're on top of each other. So I'm going to just press Control down, and you can see now that one of them has been shifted down an octave. In the next beat, I'm going down the scale, so go back down to this end. So the next note will be C, and Shift C, and stick that one up an octave. Next I'm going for the A, and you can see that this time we've got a tied note, and that's because there's a bar line in the way. You can't have a dotted note which crosses over a bar line. These 2 notes tied together are exactly the same length of time as one of these dotted notes here. Shift A to put one down an octave, and it doesn't treat the ties quite so sensibly, so I'm going to do another A down there. And the next note will be G. Oh, I need to remember to go back to the dotted note. Okay, G and up an octave. And finally F. And now I've got my left hand 5 notes of the pentatonic scale, this time going in a descending pattern. Again, I'm going to select, hold down Shift and copy, Control C, and then just paste it in. But because this rhythm is a different length to this right hand part, it means that it's not going to be the same each bar, because the two parts will overlap at different points in each bar. So let's see how many times that fits in. I'll be able to squeeze another one in here, and I'm left with just 2 beats left at the end there, so I'll just fill that up with a minim or half note on the key. Okay, so we've now written everything for the first 8 bars. To make the middle section, which is B, I'm going to have a bit of a cheat and copy everything that I've written so far. Press down Shift and then the last note, Control C, and I'm going to paste in like so. And you'll find that the pasted section is somewhere at the end there. It's still highlighted blue. And while it's still highlighted, we can manipulate these notes very easily. And what we can do is on the menu at the top of the screen, we find the Notes menu and then Transpose. And what I'm going to choose here is Transpose by Interval. And I'm going to go up, it's already selected, and I'm going to choose the interval of a minor third. Now you can experiment with this, you can transpose by any interval you like, you can go up, you can go down. Some things will sound great, some things will not sound so different. You need to just have a play around and see what you like. But the minor third up is a nice kind of transposition. I'm also going to just uncheck this box, Transpose Key Signatures, because I don't want to have a key signature in the piece. This will remove any key signature and instead put accidentals next to the notes if they're necessary. And you can see they are very necessary. We've got loads of flats that have appeared. Finally, I'm going to find the end of the piece so far, and I'm going to click in here and paste again. And because I had already copied the first part, I've pasted in the notes at their original pitch without all the flats. And so this means I've got my identical A section already done, it's just pasted in. We've now got a 24 bar composition, which is almost finished, but there is one thing we need to just improve, which is the end, because we've got in the right hand piano part, we've got all these quick notes which just kind of stop. It's much more effective as an end if you end on quite a longer note. It doesn't have to be the longest note, but it needs to be a reasonably long note. So just as a kind of a coda or an end piece, I'm going to copy these 2 bars and paste them in again and again. So it's just a repeating of the end. It's a signal that the piece is coming to an end when you hear something repeated in quick succession. And then in the actual last bar, which is up here now, I'm going to remove the quavers completely, the 8th notes, and I'm going to simply put in one keynote. And then it will definitely sound finished. I don't need these extra bars at the end, so I could just get rid of those. So I'll select them, go to Edit, and then down to Delete Selected Measures, or you can press Control and Delete if you can remember that. And now we've got the proper bar line at the end as well. So the piece is now finished. I haven't listened to it at all. I have no idea what it sounds like. So we'll go to the beginning and click on the first note and press the space bar and see what it sounds like.